Please bet on football games.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Please Bet on Football Games podcast. I am your host, Alex, here with the on-air talent, Joe. Joe, how's it going today?
It's going great. We have 2 weeks until football.
Yeah, it came up quick.
Hall of Fame game.
Yeah, I mean, it's preseason, but still, it counts.
Every year I get excited for the preseason. I get excited for the Hall of Fame game especially, and I handicap it, and then I always forget, oh, your entire handicap has to be how good are the third stringers.
Yeah, and how much they want to win.
Because they're not even going to try playing the backups, in the Hall of Fame game at least.
Yeah. Don't you normally do well in preseason, though?
Yeah, because if one of the teams isn't trying, people, you could tell how into sports betting somebody is by how they talk about preseason football. Because people love to say oh, I'm such a degenerate, I'll bet on preseason football. But no, that's the least degenerate. People, the old classic trope from our parents' era is oh, he had inside info on the games. That's why he could always win. And it's there's not really inside info in the NFL regular season or playoffs, but there is inside info in the preseason when one of the teams isn't trying. God, I deplatformed us again within 5 minutes, and now I have to edit. The preseason's a really good opportunity if you can find a matchup of a team that likes to try versus a team that doesn't, and if you can figure out who's playing the starters and how much. But a lot of the time it comes out in the wash, so I end up being pretty low volume. The first game is Chargers versus Lions. Both of those teams have psychotic head coaches who really want to win. Both of those teams have pretty good depth. It's a pick'em game. I don't want to fucking handicap who's going to be more productive, Kyle Allen versus Trey Lance.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I never really even considered betting on preseason until you kind of started talking about the effort side of it and why the Ravens win a lot and why certain teams never really win in preseason. So, but that's still a couple weeks out. For now, still doing a little bit of division previews, talking about win totals. This week we are doing the Souths.
Confederacy.
We're going to start with the AFC again, and just like last week, we're going to go from lowest win projection total up.
And this week, we actually have some bets, because last week, we basically agreed, there's not a lot of value in the AFC or NFC East, but my two favorite win total bets of the entire offseason are going to be previewed today.
Got some bettable options this week, so you ready to talk about some of them?
We might as well jump.
First up, we have the Tennessee Titans, a win projection total of 5.5.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds right. So last year I was really high on Tennessee because I thought Will Levis is going to rule or honestly, not even rule, just be good, be a good starter. And Brian Callahan's an offensive coach who comes from the Sean McVay tree. He'll be solid at the worst, right? Right? Wrong. Every possible thing that was a little bit of a question for Tennessee ended up being the worst case scenario. So Will Levis has become a meme. I think he actually played pretty decent last year, and I think that just on performance alone, he was probably a top 16 starting quarterback. Doesn't matter. His career is currently on life support, and maybe he can Baker Mayfield himself. I'd really like if he did, but it's going to take time. Now they have moved on to Cam Ward, who ironically has a lot of the same weaknesses and, shall we say, tendencies as Will Levis. Tries to play hero ball a lot. Really, really bad pocket management. Very slow to navigate what he wants to do, but lots of arm talent and some pretty good but not great athleticism. I like Cam Ward. I think he's going to be a starting quarterback in this league, and a solid one. Maybe not, what people think of when they think of a first overall pick kind of guy, but he'll be fine. I have him with a very similar grade to what I gave JJ McCarthy, very similar grade to what I gave, Zach Wilson, assuming he wouldn't be stupid. I gave Zach Wilson a 2.4 grade coming out, and I said it's going to take him a few years to get here because he's really dumb. But with NFL coaching, maybe he can get there. It turns out he's just really dumb. Cam Ward, elder rookie, started for 5 years in college. Not the biggest guy. Technique from hell, but he makes some plays now. He also just misses a ton of shit that you're how did you miss that? But then he makes some crazy throws where you're I can't imagine.
Do you mean reads, or do you mean accuracy of throws?
No, his accuracy is really bad. But occasionally it's not really bad. It's really erratic. He misses a lot of really easy throws because he's got this weird, funky throwing motion. And sometimes the ball just legitimately slips out of his hand while throwing, and it's just a mess. Like, if you could eliminate all of the really easy throws that he's just going to miss for no reason other than that's how he lives, be a really, really good quarterback. He also has several plays at Miami last year that are identical to the plays that Will Levis had, where the fumble backwards, trying to throw the ball while being tackled and it goes directly to a defensive lineman. Like, Cam Ward had several such plays that were identical, but they worked because it was college and he was playing Wake Forest. That might not persist in the NFL. We will see. I don't think that it's a big upgrade. In fact, I think it's a very, very slight downgrade, if not a lateral move.
But the team looks a little bit better around him this year.
Kinda.
Not a ton, but they did make some upgrades.
So last year we said this offensive line looks bad, but it's Bill Callahan. He'll make it decent. No, we were wrong. And Bill Callahan, I think that the verdict is in at this point. He's addicted to drafting bad offensive linemen out of Alabama. For whatever reason, Alabama has a hold on him and he just can't evaluate their tackles.
I don't know. I think he just overestimates his ability to turn someone into a good player, because he seems to go after raw guys and then try and coach them up. They did that in Cleveland, where there was that stretch where they were getting James Hudson, and I mean that was what Wyatt Teller was, and they were trying to get guys that had the tools, but for whatever reason it wasn't working, and then coach him up into it. And sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. With Jed Wills, he just didn't want to play football.
Yeah.
And so that, I mean, it's hard to coach around that, but also that's part of your evaluation process.
Low-key, I also did not like Jed Wills out of Alabama, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, I remember. I think we both had him a little bit lower. We had Tristan Wirfs ahead of him. We had
Andrew Thomas, the god.
Yeah, we had Andrew Thomas ahead of him.
Yeah, no, the thing with Latham is he's fucking slow and gets overwhelmed. He's such a guard, it hurts. But regardless, they moved Latham back to right tackle. So they go from having the worst right tackle in the recorded human history to somebody who's got to be at least somewhat competent. I think Latham's a C+ player, but that's a giant upgrade from a D-.
Yeah.
Kevin Zeitler is ancient, but a really, really good, solid pass protector at right guard. Lloyd Cushenberry's healthy again. He's good when healthy. Peter Skoronski started turning into a decent offensive lineman last year. And then the big addition at left tackle is Dan Moore. Now tell me if you've heard this before. Dan Moore was not very good at Texas A&M, but he was really athletic. And then he went to the Steelers, where he wasn't really good, but occasionally played some pretty good games. And then the Titans paid him $30 million a year.
Yeah.
So we'll fucking see. But even if Dan Moore is a C player and Latham does not get any better, you go from having a D on your offensive tackles to a C. You go from having a B- at guard to a B or a B+. Suddenly the Titans offensive line is okay, not good. Not good. But you can run plays now.
Yeah, I don't think that they're going to have every passing play completely blown up because neither of their tackles can play.
Well, it also got to the point last year where they had the fun dilemma of all right, we need at least 6 blockers to give our quarterback, whoever it is, a chance in hell at throwing the ball. But also our receivers kind of suck and are very slow, so we need time. Their offensive line is now good enough that 5 should be sufficient. Maybe a running back blocker. And then, look, losing Nick Westbrook-Akine, he's a decent enough player. Replacing him with Tyler Lockett, that's an upgrade. Nuke Hopkins, was once great. That day is a long time ago, and he's a particularly slow-moving receiver. It takes him a long time to get to the point in the play where you want to be targeting him, because he doesn't move fast, and he's really only a deep threat now as a jump ball guy. He's not elusive, and he's not getting open quick in routes. Van Jefferson, the epitome of average.
Mm-hmm.
So the Titans have done a good job of patching up all the holes. They haven't fixed any of the holes, and they didn't patch the holes with the best of materials. But they threw some Flex Seal on that bitch, and maybe this screen can float.
Yeah, I mean, because they still looking at their roster, they still don't have a star player.
I was gonna say, I don't think there's a single
really good player.
There's not a single offensive player starting on this roster that I would give a A- to.
Yeah, and so they've kind of brought everything up to a more like passable level, but they still don't have any of those like difference makers. Like maybe Cam Ward is,
He's
and
not.
he can bring some of those guys up, but yeah, I mean, I don't feel like anyone's really expecting him to be that franchise changing guy where it doesn't matter what you put around him, he's going to succeed. So like, I mean, who knows? I think they should at least be able to have a functional offense. Still don't think it's going to be good, but it won't be as embarrassing as it was last year.
Yeah, I think we'll get a fair sense of what Brian Callahan's offense is this year because he'll like actually have enough competence to run his plays.
Hmm.
But I don't think that we're going to be impressed.
Yeah, like
Like I think the verdict's out. He's not good. It'll be better than last year, but it'll be bad.
yeah, I agree with that. But let's talk about the defense.
Man, this defensive line is being just so wasted. Like Jeff Simmons, a section of Patriots Twitter tried to argue with me over the summer that Jeffrey Simmons isn't elite. Like he's just some nobody nothing motherfucker.
That's insane.
They're like, well, Harold Landry's never played next to a defensive tackle as good as Christian Barmore. And I'm like, no, never at least three of them at the same time, even. You fucking morons. How dare you try to speak? Yeah, no, Jeffrey Simmons is incredible. And then I goddamn love Tavondre Sweat. Him and Byron Murphy. One's a cornerback, one's a defensive tackle out of Texas who went about 10th overall to the Seahawks.
Byron Murphy is the cornerback. Byron Maxwell sounds right, but I don't know for sure that that's
I think it's also, fuck it, we're going on a tangent. We're going to find out because I really like his game. But the whole point is Byron was really good at Texas, and Sweat was like clearly the more athletic one who just had like effort and attitude problems. Murphy, I knew it. I think there's two Byron Murphys, man.
Wow.
Hence Byron Murphy on the Seahawks being Byron Murphy II. He's the son of the cornerback. I'm
I
lying.
don't think so.
No, I'm almost certain that he's not. In fact, I might say I'm certain. But no, Jeff Simmons, incredible. Tavondre Sweat, excellent upside, and it actually seems like he's going to reach it and like cares about football, which is kind of a pleasant surprise. Not, like everybody knew he'd be okay, but nobody knew if he would reach his ceiling, and it looks like he has a real chance to do so. Sebastian Joseph Day is the epitome of average once again, and Draymond Jones find the epitome of average and then like take a half step backwards. That's Draymond Jones. Arden Key is fun. My boy Lorenzo Carter out of Atlanta is the epitome of average as well. There are reasons to be excited about their front seven, especially when you factor in like, oh God, they lost their linebackers. All they have left is Cody Barton and Otis Reese. Never mind. Their front seven kind of sucks, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they might be decent in the run, but I don't see a lot of pass rush coming through any of that.
I like Cody Barton. He's a good Will Compton upgrade. He's the evolved form of Will Compton. And Robert Spillane is the twin of Will Compton. And Nick Kwiatkowski evolves into either Will Compton or Robert Spillane. Did I do my white linebackers better? Oh, and then if you digivolve Cody Barton, he becomes Luke Kuechly. That's how that works. I have the Digimon theme song stuck in my head now. The secondary is good.
Yeah.
I mean, I really like almost everybody in the secondary. Algerius Sneed, people were ragging on him for last year, like, oh, he's not good. And it's like, he wasn't playing for anything.
Yeah. Like his stats weren't good, but also I don't put a lot of stock into that season because they were so fucking bad.
Yeah. Amani Hooker is sick. Xavier Woods is a solid pro. Jarvis Brownlee's okay. He'll be competing with Amani Oruwariye for the outside cornerback 2 job. Amani Oruwariye was so good in college, and he had like 1 or 2 really good years with Detroit, and then just injuries, and he fell apart.
Mm-hmm.
And like he never had the speed to burn, just really great ball skills and instincts and size. And now the speed is just worse, and it's reached a critical threshold. It's the John Tavares problem. If you're slow to begin with and you lose a step, you're done. And then, yeah, Roger McCreary, the ideal slot corner. So I don't expect teams to score a ton of points on Tennessee. I don't expect Tennessee to score a ton of points in their own right. One thing I noted last year, we joked about how like Tennessee might legitimately have the worst special teams of all time. And they actually statistically did, like by a margin. They fired their special teams coordinator, who happens to be Brian Callahan's best friend. So that's not a great sign for them.
Awkward.
But they did bring in John Fossil, who's like, well, his name is appropriate. He's been in the NFL for 30 fucking years as a special teams guy, and he raises the floor.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like he's one of those guys that around the league is respected as one of the better special teams coaches.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think this season it looks like they'll do a lot of floor raising, but they're still not going to be good.
Well, yeah, that's their entire offseason was about raising their floor. And I think that 5.5's a really perfect like win total for them.
Yeah, I think that's a good area.
And I don't like, and as much as I like love, like I'm known as a Will Levis lover, right? I don't think he's great. I don't think he changes this win total for me. I think that him and Cam Ward are very similar caliber guys. I think Levis is a little better, but he also just plays more the style that I would want if I was calling the offense, because I like to throw deep and never run the ball. But yeah, no, Tennessee. I'm really excited to not watch any of their games next year as opposed to last year.
I was about to say.
I watched so much terrible Titans football last year. All right, who should we do next?
Next up, let's do Indianapolis.
I agree. The rest of this division gets really interesting really fast.
Yes. So I'm kind of like, let's get these ones out of the way. Indy has a win total projection of 7.5.
So I'm just going to fucking say it. Daniel Jones is going to be their starting quarterback. That's not like I think he should be. That's not like I'm predicting. That's like I've been told. I wish that.
How long do you think that's lasts?
I don't know. I hate watching Daniel Jones.
Yeah, and I feel like everyone in Indy is also going to hate Daniel Jones, and they're going to be clamoring for giving
Anthony
Richardson
Richardson
another
Sr. By the way, you can't be Anthony Richardson Sr. when you're 21 years old, bud. Especially when like your entire career is people saying, yeah, well, he's young, he'll learn. Like, don't alert them to the fact that you could be a senior. Be junior. You want to remind them, he's got to do the Trey Edmonds thing where it's just like, oh, you know, he's only 20. Like, hang on to that youth because it's literally all you've got right now. Yeah, so Daniel Jones is going to start. And when Daniel Jones is healthy and is really well protected, because Daniel Jones is a panic guy. He's got a lot of Sam Darnold in him where like if things don't look right when he gets to the top of his drop, he melts down and kind of just wants to pee in his pants a little bit. And oftentimes he does. But Daniel Jones has a really accurate intermediate ball. His deep ball is hot ass. And everybody can throw the short game except for Cam Ward and a smattering of other guys. But Daniel Jones is pretty damn good at throwing a hook route or like a 12-yard dig, which means that he's well qualified to be Joe Burrow. But this is not an intermediate route offense. Shane Steichen is a lot about the quick hitters and the deep balls. And I don't know how Daniel Jones is going to adjust to that. I don't like Daniel Jones. I think he'll be a huge upgrade from Anthony Richardson, but so was Joe Flacco, and it didn't matter.
Yeah, like I feel like, you know, you're similar to what we just talked about with Tennessee, where you're going to raise the floor because he's probably not going to make as many horrible decisions and plays as Anthony Richardson did. Plus, he's going to be a little bit more like consistent. Now, Daniel Jones, we all know, still has plenty of his own boneheaded and kind of inexplicable plays, but he's more consistent. And when you have a good offensive line, you have a bunch of good receivers, you have a solid offensive coordinator, like he shouldn't really need to be that good. But at the same time, I don't know. Like you talked about, the scheme doesn't really fit, and we've seen Daniel Jones for years, and he's nothing more than a quarterback you want to replace. And
he's a good backup. But
yeah.
The thing is, dude, and you hinted at it. I'm so mad at Chris Ballard, the GM of the Colts. I hate him so much. He's so fucking inept. Do you remember when Chris Ballard got hired and everybody was talking about how, like, this is the guy who built the Chiefs. He's going to be incredible. He's going to be the best GM in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
People love to do this. If you're nice to the media as a VP or general, like, low-tier exec, when your name comes up in GM conversations, they'll suck your cock, and fans will believe that you're some savior for no reason at all with no idea what your resume is. See Adam Peters, see Joe Shane, see Brandon Bean, see this motherfucker right here. Hell, see Ryan Grigson back in the day, or even Trent Baalke. They just keep doing it. If you're nice to media, fans will at some point believe that you are the football savant, savior, genius, god of America. Fuck Greg Dorsey. It doesn't matter how good the rest of the Colts are. Chris Ballard will find a way to saddle them with a terrible quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, they've switched quarterbacks, it feels like, every season for the last, like, since Luck retired.
Yes, literally. And recall, once upon a time, Baker Mayfield like openly lobbied the Colts to sign him so he could fill in where Matt Ryan left off. And they said no, they didn't want him. Instead, they're doing this fucking parade of horribles. That's a fun little wordplay because it's not what a parade of horribles actually means, but it is a parade of horrible quarterbacks.
I like it.
Yeah, like Baker Mayfield wanted to go there. They didn't want him. Will Levis was supposed to go there, and then the owner had like a crazy crackpot idea at the last second. Why don't we go for Anthony Richardson for the upside? Turns out that was a mistake. Not to speak ill of the dead, but that was a dumb fucking idea. And it's wasting, I don't want to say the best, but certainly the deepest and arguably my favorite wide receiver core in the NFL. Like Michael Pittman is a bad wide receiver 1 and a great wide receiver 2, right? Like he's an X, he's not spectacular, but he kind of does his job. A lot of Michael Thomas to him, right? Alec Pierce is a 6'4" burner who runs 4.3 and has excellent hands. He should be at the very least DK Metcalf, but nobody can get him the fucking ball. Josh Downs, excellent slot receiver, great after the catch, incredible route runner. Never drops anything. A.D. Mitchell's better than Brian Thomas and the same general type of player. But nobody notices because A, he's stuck in an extremely crowded room, and B, they can't throw the ball. So you got 4 wide receivers who like legitimately would be the best wide receiver on the Chargers, the Patriots, like all these teams with good quarterback, the Bills. Like if any of those teams could get one of those 4 dudes, it would change their offense completely. And they added Tyler Warren at tight end. And they have Jonathan Taylor for like another 2 years of his prime at running back. And Shane Steichen's a good offensive coordinator. This team is a good quarterback away from Super Bowl contention, and they can't find a quarterback who gets them above 500. How? And your fucking solution is Daniel fucking Jones? I handed you a Ferrari and I put the keys on the ground and I said, if you could find a way to start it, it's yours. And they threw a rock in the window. And then the next year they found a different rock and threw it to a different window. I hate this fucking team because they hoard things that I like and they surround them with rotten, molten shit. They also they kind of let their offensive line get away from them a little bit. Like Braden Smith. No, actually, I'm wrong because I forgot they drafted Jalen Travis. They are hoarding the things that I like. Quentin Nelson, obviously beyond reproach. I love Bernard Raymond. Like, yeah, his arms are a little short. He's a freak fucking athlete. You can't get around him. Braden Smith's a very solid B+ tackle. Taylor Bortolini, Mac Gonsalves, I don't know. But Jalen Travis, really, really good. Like, Danny Pinter's a good backup interior offensive lineman. Blake Freeland's a good swing tackle. There's so much here. And it doesn't matter because fucking Daniel Jones is at the helm. And if he's not, it's Anthony Richardson, who's literally 2 missed passes away from the lowest completion percentage of all time.
Yeah, I was going to ask, like, as far as the offense, like, does anything change for them?
No.
Until they get a new quarterback.
How
or like
can
one
it?
that can actually play.
How can it change? What can they do different?
Yeah, I don't know. And that's why it makes no sense.
I mean, like, what they're going to do with Daniel Jones and Shane Steichen paired up, they're going to throw a lot of RPOs. They're going to use Daniel Jones's legs. They're going to, I hope they're smart enough to run up on a bunch of mesh, right? Like, get Josh Downs coming across the middle, get Alec Pierce coming across the middle, and then throw the rail right behind him to Adonai Mitchell, or, God forbid, Tyler Warren. Have Michael Pittman go on a streak as a decoy. Like, just run that a fuck ton of times so you can either get the yak from your 2 really athletic underneath receivers or, exploit the fact that Daniel Jones is like a B+, A- intermediate level passer as long as everything's clean. And fuck, it's frustrating. Like, I'm going to say something. I'm going to say it one time and we're going to quickly glaze over it, move on. If this team would have fucking signed Sam Howell instead of fucking Daniel Jones, max play. But they didn't even bet on the upside. Like, if you're going to sign a reclamation project quarterback, shouldn't it be somebody with a ceiling of being good rather than a guy who has shown us that with great blocking, great coaching, tons of luck, and good weapons, he can barely win a wild card game?
I don't know. I feel like them drafting Anthony Richardson so high 2 years ago at 21 or whatever he was when he got drafted.
20.
Yeah, because I think he's now 23. Like, he turned 23 earlier this year.
Did you look that up?
Yeah.
Goddamn.
And so, like, when you're running that team, when you take him that high at that age, knowing he's a very raw prospect, I feel like he's kind of your developmental guy. Like, you gave him, the better part of a year and a half because he only played for a few games that first year.
Yeah.
And he's been terrible, but they should have known that and prepared for that. So maybe like that is their plan of they're keeping Anthony Richardson because he's still younger than dudes that just got drafted
True.
and has all of the tools. Now, he doesn't know how to play the position, but theoretically he could. So, like, that's where you just want to get some guy that you know has run an offense and, like, should be able to come in and pick up a playbook. But I don't know. I mean, it's still, I think, bad process, and that's part of why you shouldn't take Anthony Richardson that high. But I feel like that's still playing out for them, where they're kind of stuck on what to do at quarterback.
They also have a sneaky hard schedule. We'll talk about that in a moment. But quickly, after about a decade of trying, I think their defense might actually be decent.
Yeah, I mean, they got the D coordinator finally.
Yeah. So their second round pick was JT Tuimalo, and that's like one of the worst picks of the entire fucking draft.
Yeah.
Like, if only we had a defensive end who was undersized and unathletic. Fucking owners watch. God damn it. I hate to keep speaking ill of the dead, but owners watch championship games in college football and bowl games, and that's it. And when they see a team who wins a lot and there's a player whose name they heard when they watched their games, they say, I need him. JT Tuimalo had a few really explosive games in college, despite not being very good. He got his name said a lot during the national championship, and that's all she wrote. Kwity Paye is still, like, again, like the definition of mid. He's so fast, and it doesn't matter because he's basically Jamal Adams, playing the position Jamal Adams probably should have played. He can run around to tackle, but if he gets touched, it's over. Leatu Latu, I think he's a good defensive end. I think he's better as a 2 than a 1, obviously, but like a B-plus guy. DeForest Buckner is still DeForest Buckner. I don't care what the haters say, and Grover Stewart is still really good as well. Add in Adetomiwa Adebawore, the guy out of Northwestern who's just a freak athlete in his second year now, I think, or maybe third. I think that he'll finally start to come on a little bit. I believe in his athleticism at defensive tackle, which is like the least cerebral position conceivable. And then after years of their secondary being just bad, just terrible, it suddenly is really fucking good. Like Kenny Moore is a great slot corner. Nate Cross and Cam Bynum are both good, solid safeties. But now you add Mooney Ward as your CB1, a top 10 CB1, maybe a top 5, but probably definitely top 10. Jalen Jones is mid, but that's fine. Juju Brents is mid, but that's fine because they're going to be competing to be the cornerback 2. Like that's a really good, deep, thorough, mixed secondary.
Yeah. And again, not to belabor the point, but they have a really good defensive coordinator now.
Yeah, Lou Anarumo is going to run a lot of soft zones. He's going to run light boxes, drop 8, drops. I mean, the drop 8 thing got a little overblown because it was more of like a change up than a fastball, but like the man can coach defense really well. I'm excited to see. God damn it. I would really like this Colts team if they had a different quarterback, which almost makes me think I should just believe a little bit more in Daniel Jones than I do because he will have a good offensive line or a decent one. And like that changes his mentality entirely, but he's still Daniel Jones.
Yeah. And I don't know if, like him being on a better roster, I'm sure will help him, but I don't know how much more like he's going to be able to learn or improve where he's a handful of years into his career. He's already had some really good coaches. I mean, he had Dable, who's one of the better like quarterback whisperers out there.
Yeah.
So that's my concern with him is that like he's already had some really good coaching and he's been around for a little bit.
He had David Cutcliffe in college. The whole point of Daniel Jones getting drafted so high is people said he was polished and had great NFL coaching in college and therefore wouldn't need a ton of refinement.
Right. So it's kind of like I don't know where, like if just kind of like a scheme change and a better talent on the team is going to turn him into a much different quarterback. So you're still in that like fighting for a wild card position.
Totally agreed.
And I mean, like maybe, it's still good to make the playoffs, but I feel like if your ceiling or your hope for the year when you've got a really good roster is hopefully we can make the wild card is disappointing.
Well, plus their schedule is tough. So I'm going to list some games that I think are pretty much certain losses, and you just tell me if I'm out of bounds.
Okay.
Denver, Rams, at least one game to Houston.
Mm-hmm.
Chargers, Chiefs, at least one game to Jacksonville. We're already looking at 6 losses. And those are the ones that are like not very close.
Yeah.
Then you've got games against Miami is tough. The Raiders will be okay. The Steelers will be okay. Houston and Jacksonville again. The 49ers. That's 6 more games that are pretty fucking tough.
Yeah, and I mean, like, if they come out and they're playing well and they found a way to kind of minimize the impact of the quarterback and take some lessons from, all the Shanahan offenses and some of the McVay offenses that have found ways to kind of work around not great quarterbacks, but even then, like, maybe you get a couple extra wins. Like, I feel like their ceiling is a little bit higher just because if they can get around some of the quarterback stuff, they have an awesome roster with some really good coaching. But you're running out Daniel Jones or Anthony Richardson.
Yeah. So, like, I see 6 losses no matter what. And then I see probably another, like, 2 or 3 losses from the tough games. And that's assuming things go well for them.
Mm-hmm.
You're already at 9 wins on the year. And that's if everything goes well.
Yeah. All right. I think we spent enough time on Indy. Let's move on. Next up, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars. They have a projected win total of 7.5.
This is, and if you follow me on Twitter, you already know this is my favorite over of the season.
All right, walk me through that.
Okay, first of all, Trevor Lawrence is not the guy that he was supposed to be. Why? Because he was never that guy to begin with. He had a really good freshman season when he was 18, and that was kind of the best he ever got. He never really got any better or any worse, and that's plenty. He's absolutely an NFL starting quarterback. I gave him damn near the same grade I gave Caleb Williams, but again, those of you who are at all familiar with my work know that I was like the number 1 Caleb Williams hater, because I thought he should go 2nd overall instead of 1st, while everybody else was saying he's the greatest prospect we've ever seen. Literally. But yeah, no, like, Trevor Lawrence is fine. He's very similar to what I think Will Levis and Cam Ward are. A little better, but not by a ton. Really inconsistent, just makes like dumb mistakes. And it's like, I don't know if it's quite hero ball or it's just like he gets overwhelmed when he feels like he doesn't have a chance or he doesn't see the vision. And his accuracy is not great. It's occasionally, again, his accuracy is actually really, really good. It's his precision, his consistency that struggles. But regardless, he's a fine quarterback. Brian Thomas Jr. is really good. Probably a little overrated right now, but he's good. De'Ami Brown, overrated. They paid him way too much, but he's fine. Travis Hunter, solid. I think he's a B-plus player on either side of the ball, whichever one he decides to play more, and it looks like they want him playing more wide receiver than cornerback, which is fine. So they have solid receivers and a decent quarterback with a really good offensive coordinator in Liam Cohen. I mean, probably the best designed screen game in the NFL last year with the Bucs. Really, really good at designing the run, good at creating, explosive, creative downfield plays on 3rd downs. Now, I think that Liam Cohen was a little bit buoyed by the fact that Baker Mayfield had one of the best seasons I've seen ever last year. And Baker Mayfield was especially incredible on 3rd and long last year, which extended drives that probably should have ended without points. But I still think he's a good offensive coach. And when you pair a good offensive coach with a decent quarterback, you're a playoff team, because there's just not many of those in this league. Additionally, offensive line, they had a little bit of a remake. Robert Hainsey comes from Tampa to play center. I think he's a solid center. Ezra Cleveland from Minnesota, decent guard with injury problems, but when he's healthy, he's solid. Walker Little, I like. Anton Harrison, fine. And then Patrick McCurry is the definition of average. So they got a very solid average offensive line, very similar to what the Bucs had last year, with solid, good enough wide receivers and a good quarterback. And I really like Travis Etienne, and Tank Bigsby might even be better between the tackles. Plus,
so I agree, the roster looks good. And assuming Trevor Lawrence kind of keeps doing the same thing, I tend to agree with you. The only question or worry I have is sometimes with the coach projection. Because we've done it before where with Kevin O'Connell, for example, where he came in and we were like, oh, this team's going to be great. This is a team we should look to bet on a bunch because he's going to fix a lot of problems and he's a savant. And we were right. And we made money off of it. But then we've also had coaches like last year with Brian Callahan. I mean, the Titans were, I think they were 5.5 for their win total last year, and we took the over because we were like, Brian Callahan, Will Levis, it's a good pairing. They've got some tools. Yeah, the offensive line is bad, but they've got his dad coming in, and then they were unwatchable.
I'm so glad that you listed those two offensive minds because what is the difference between them? The cock called plays. We already know exactly what Liam Cohen's offense is going to look like. We've seen him call plays in Kentucky and in Tampa, and we generally know what his philosophy is because of the fact that he keeps on going back to LA. It's like we know he's tight with McVay. We know for certain what the offense will look like. Now, the fourth down aggression, I don't know. Legitimately don't know. But based on how forward thinking they've been with like hiring the youngest GM who wants to go full bore on analytics and, Liam Cohen being a young offensive guy, I'd assume they'll be pretty aggressive. The Titans handicap last year was wrong for a few reasons, but all of them involved projecting things that we didn't know. We didn't know what Brian Callahan was as an offensive mind. We assumed he'd be good because he was an offensive guy.
Yeah, and he was McVay. He was, part of that. We liked Zach Taylor's offense for the most part, and he was aggressive too, so we thought that might carry over, but
we didn't know what his offense would look like, and it was a problem.
Yeah, that's very fair.
We didn't know what the offensive line would look like in Tennessee. We said, the roster's not good, but they'll figure it out because Bill Callahan. Here, I'm saying it's fine. I'm looking at the players. These are players who I've liked at their previous stops.
Yeah, and this is definitely a better roster than anything Tennessee had or has this year even.
Well, and the benefit is they're fucking playing Tennessee. They're fucking playing Indy 4 times. That 4 of their games, a quarter of their games are those 2 fucking teams. It's not bad.
Yeah.
And we'll go through the defense first because I think that has been a problem for them in the past, but Trayvon Walker is fine. I know he gets a lot of hate because he should not have gone first overall, but him and Josh Allen, those are fine. That's a fine defensive end pairing.
Yeah. I think they complement each other well too.
They do, because Josh Hines Allen is like a speed rusher and Trayvon Walker is like a mauler gap stuffer. And then inside, Eric Armstead is their rotational third defensive tackle, which I don't know if I agree with, but he had a bad year last year. Mason Smith is fine. Devon Hamilton is fine. That front 4, you don't have problems. And you also got rotational guys like Dennis Gardeck and Emmanuel Ogbah who have shown that they can hang in this league. So you've got depth. People will be fresh. I like it. Devin Lloyd and Foye Oluokun, they are both, we've many times lamented their ability to play in space. They just get so fucking lost and confused in space. But at least they're trying to build a secondary around them. Between Tyson Campbell, who's turned into a legitimately good corner, and Jordan Lewis, who's a really good slot, it doesn't bother me as much that Jerry Jones kind of sucks and Travis Hunter might not play corner. And frankly, I don't think Travis Hunter should play both ways. I think he should pick one and kind of major in it, and occasionally he can help fill in on the other one.
Yeah, that's all that makes sense. I feel like trying to learn both playbooks and get used to both of them at the same time is just going to be overwhelming no matter how good you are.
Well, the other thing is look, I don't mean to knock Travis Hunter. I know a lot of people think he's a generational talent. He's just not that athletic or big. He's really skinny. He's kind of undersized and he's not that fast. He's fast, but he's not that fast. So if he's going to be a great corner or a great wide receiver, he's going to need good technique, and he's not going to be able to develop good technique or great instincts if he's not focusing. And so he is, according to interviews, I heard Trevor Lawrence talk about it on PMT last week, he is playing both. He alternates practices. But I think that as the season progresses, they're going to kind of realize oh, he's just a wide receiver. To the extent that he plays cornerback and he's decent, he's able to kind of play to the level he did in college. Suddenly the secondary is really good, but I don't expect that. Their safeties. So if you're gonna hit the Jaguars, hit them right up the fucking middle. Cause Eric Murray, bad starting safety. Devin Lloyd just can't handle being in space. Oluokun, same thing, just not athletic enough to handle being in space. And then, Darnell Savage is fine. But I say a decent defense and probably a good offense. Now, let me tell you their fucking schedule.
Yeah.
I went through and I see about 11 wins. They open up with Carolina. You think they win that game?
I think so.
I think they win that fucking game. Then they go to Cincinnati. That's tough. Then Houston. That's tough. But they're probably going to win one Houston game. They're going to probably split, right?
Yeah, I feel like they go 4-6 in the division. I think they'll drop one of their games against Indy or Tennessee, and then I think they'll drop one against Houston.
Yeah, I think that's totally fair. San Francisco seems kind of tough, but their defense is terrible, and they have no receivers left.
Yeah, and all the receivers they have left are, at least now, currently are hurt.
Yeah. They'll lose to Kansas City. That's fine. They'll probably lose to the Rams. Seattle will be a tough game. Oakland, they got them. I think they clearly beat Oakland.
Yeah, they should.
Arizona, yeah. Tennessee, yeah. The Jets, yeah. Denver, iffy, but I think so. And then, yeah, the rest is Indy and Tennessee games. Like, I count at least 2 guaranteed wins, which is actually kind of low, but I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games where I think they should be significant favorites. So
Yeah, that's 9 wins.
exactly. Significant favorites means I give them a 75% chance of winning. Games against like the Jets and the Colts, that's like 90 to 100%. And then I give them like a sliver of a chance in games against Kansas City, etc. But yeah, I come out to 11 wins. We only need 8. I love this win total. I'm betting on Liam Cohen, and I'm betting on weaponry, and I'm betting on Trevor Lawrence being okay. Really?
Yeah, and those are the key parts of it. I think it's Liam Cohen being able to take that offense to another place and institute it and run it on top of all the head coach stuff, be aggressive or, not like, because you see coaches come in like Brian Callahan last year where it felt like he was just like switching players arbitrarily and it was never a great plan.
Yeah.
And so like that plan still matters. But you're right in that we have seen him call an offense with at least somewhat similar, offensive structure or personnel and be really successful with it. So I agree that I think it's a good bet on Liam Cohen. Trevor Lawrence does worry me a little bit with just some of his injuries and everything like that. But we have a good amount of, we have 3.5 win margin, basically.
Yeah. And it's not even so much that I'm betting on Liam Cohen being good, but I think the market fundamentally misunderstands how coaches affect games, right? Because I think that most football fans still think of coaches as like, oh, he's going to make Trevor Lawrence better. That's not how it works. Trevor Lawrence is going to be Trevor Lawrence. He's fucking 25 years old. He's been playing this game for 15, 20 years. He's had the best coaching on earth for a decade. Trevor Lawrence is who he is. It's just what he's being asked to do that will change because the coach will put him in easier positions. And I think people fundamentally misunderstand that because people want to view football as a game played by the players rather than the game in which coaching matters more than any other sport. Not even close. So it's not just that we're betting on Liam Cohen being a good offensive coordinator. It's not just that we're betting on Trevor Lawrence having a bounce back year after missing a lot of time due to injury and people kind of forgetting how good he is. It's also that a bet on the Jaguars is a bet that coaching, especially offensive play calling, matters more than most people think.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mostly agree with you, and I'm on board making this the first bet of the year.
Yeah, cha-ching. I think that the Jaguars are clearly better than the Texans.
Ooh, that's interesting. Well, you ready to talk about that?
Yeah, let's talk about it because I don't know if I believe clearly, but I do think they're better.
All right, on to Houston. The Houston Texans have a win total projection of 9.5.
Yeah, and I lean under largely because I think CJ Stroud is like legitimately bad.
Yeah, that's anyone that listens to this podcast or follows you on Twitter knows that you're lower on him than most. And so I was going to ask of how much of last year do you think it was? Like, give me percentages of him just regressing to what he is and people kind of figuring it out that like how he likes to play of roll out to his right and try and find a lane on the move. Or was it some of the sophomore slump and people catching up to him and they had a lot of injuries. He didn't have Nico Collins for a lot of the year. The offensive line was rough. Like what percent is him getting caught up to and what percent is sophomore slump, team was in a worse spot?
So they did have part of their sophomore slump, a significant part, is their offense got stale. What's the guy's fucking name? His dad was a defensive coordinator. He came from San Francisco.
Was it Clint? Was Kubiak there?
No. Kubiak last year was with New
Slowick.
Orleans. It was Bobby Slowick. I think his dad was a Bears coach for a while. Yes. Bobby Slowick had a hard time adapting, so the run game kind of fell to shit. For the first half of the season, they were, for all of Stroud's rookie season and for the first half of the season, they were having a really good time running the ball on these outside zone concepts, and it was getting like 3 or 4 yards a carry, and it was keeping them in sync ahead of the chains, and it kind of just fell apart. Everybody realized that's exactly what they're doing every time. There wasn't a lot of creativity, and then their passing game lacked imagination. A lot of it was just like, hey, Nico Collins, go beat him. And he can, because he's a top 3 or 4 receiver in the world. Like, he's probably not Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase, but he's probably the next guy. Him and AJ Brown are very
I was
similar
about to say
players.
AJ Brown is,
Nico Collins is bigger and younger.
yeah, I just feel like AJ Brown is, you got some more of that respect that
Yeah.
like where teams play him a little bit different.
I think Nico Collins is well on his way to that, though.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked.
I think a large part of their problem last year, though, before we get to blaming Stroud, 15% the offensive line fell apart from the inside. 15% the offensive play calling did get stale, but 70% is CJ Stroud's just really inaccurate. He's just not accurate. And I know he said at the combine that he's super accurate and he's a ball placement specialist, and therefore everybody believed him, but that was never the case. Like, you're an Ohio guy. You watched him at Ohio State. Like, yeah, he misses balls he shouldn't, and it happens too often. Did people not watch the last month and a half of the season where CJ Stroud was just having the hardest time hitting the broadside of a fucking barn?
It was crazy because I remember you were, most of last year, pretty early, you were on the like, no, he's bad and he's showing us what he is.
He's such a fraud in his rookie year.
And I was like, I don't know, because in his rookie year, I didn't watch a ton of his games, but it seemed like he was doing a lot better with stuff that he struggled with in college. In college, one of his big knocks was he panicked under pressure and did not know what to do when things started breaking down. But then he did a really good job with that his rookie year, where he was like having guys right in his face and he was still making good throws. So I was kind of like, I don't know. But then, you actually got me to sit down and watch some of those games and like just, see him throwing and watch his tape specifically. And I was like, no, yeah, wow, he really is like, he's having layup throws or like very, regular throws that any quarterback makes, that he was just sailing or throwing 4 yards wide. And it was like, what is happening? But you were right on that. And I'm curious what happens.
Another part of it is that, so at State, he was terrible at handling any pressure. And then the Georgia game happened. And after his rookie year, every fucking analyst who just couldn't get enough of the taste of his asshole was saying, oh, we should have known. We saw the Georgia game. He handled pressure brilliantly. It was always there. He had the athleticism. He just needed to find out how to do it. The Georgia game showed us something, but not what people were talking about. The Georgia game showed us that he figured out when under pressure, he can do the same exact escape move where he does the Russell Wilson, turn all the way around and start rolling to your left, then zig back to your right and throw it up high, jump ball to your tall superstar X receiver. Marvin Harrison, as good as it gets, then Nico Collins, as good as it gets. But when you only have one fucking move and you only do one fucking pass off of that move, people figure it out. If you would do that one move and then like survey the field and throw to a different receiver sometimes, it would work, but he doesn't do that. He has the one fucking move, which if you know it's coming, it doesn't work. And then he throws it to his number one guy. So if CJ Stroud leaves the pocket, the ball's going to be a jump ball to Nico Collins. And it's not going to be very accurate because CJ Stroud's not very accurate. Additionally, CJ Stroud's calling card game his rookie year, the Buccaneers comeback. Well, it turns out you can't just throw a jump ball in the general direction of Carlton Davis every play and get 400 yards. That's not how football works because Carlton Davis only plays for two teams. He plays for the Patriots, and then his slower twin, Benjamin St-Juste, is a backup on the Chargers. I hate both of those guys. They're terrible. I don't even hate them. I just hate watching them play when I have a vested interest in them being decent.
Yeah,
because they
fair.
never are. I'm trying to soften. I'm trying to not say I hate them as men because I don't know them, but I hate their game. And I hate people who say that their game is good because those are liars. So yeah, CJ Stroud he was a lot of fool's gold and he's a bit of a problem. But to the Texans' credit, they've done everything else right. Like Joe Mixon is a good, solid running back, and him and Nick Chubb are like the best backfield of 2019. Unfortunately, that is 6 years ago now. We are getting old. Time is passing us by. It'll be a fine backfield. Jesus Christ, the Texans have two fullbacks. That's not going to last. They just loaded up. It kind of makes me mad. They drafted Jaden Higgins in the second round. Is he overrated? Yes. Was he overdrafted? I believe so. But they think he can be an X, and or a slot receiver. I think he can only be a slot. But then the next round, they doubled back and they took his teammate Jalen Noel, who's a slot exclusive receiver, but a really, really athletic, twitchy, fun one. I was told by Chargers fans and Patriots fans that you can't draft 2 wide receivers in the same draft to fix a need because that's irresponsible. It's just one of those things that people are like, oh, you can't do that. Oh, yeah? Why? Oh, it's just not done. Why is it not done? Why shouldn't it be done? Well, nobody would do it. Yeah, I know you said it won't happen, but should it? You're not living in reality. I guess fucking not, buddy. Play in traffic. The Texans did this despite already having Nico Collins, who we said elite, and they got Christian Kirk, who's an incredible slot Y or slot Z combo. You don't want him playing Y. He is not big enough. Y is tight end or big slot, I guess. But X and Y is such a better pairing than X and Z. So I always flip them in my head.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Anyway, and oh, by the way, Tank Dell may once again become healthy one time. And Justin Watson is a perfectly average sacrificial X. And John Mechie's okay. And Johnny Johnson is gigantic and should probably move to tight end, but he is 6'8", dude.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I feel like it's hard to play at that height.
Yeah, but how can he lose a jump ball?
I guess.
Now I have how can she slap stuck in my head. Dude, I got memes running through my brain this entire pod between the Digimon theme song and now how can she slap? Yeah, so this offense should be sick. And then they got another McVay guy, Nick Caley, who's going to run their offense. He's a guy who's never called plays, but he is a McVay guy. So there's a 65% chance he's a good offensive coordinator and a 35% chance he's kind of a bent penis.
So do you think the offense is going to be better this year? Or is it all just CJ Stroud it depends on him? Well,
fuck. Okay, the Texans might have low-key won the draft because they fixed their offensive line this year too.
Yeah.
Cam Robinson is a C-plus offensive tackle. It's not good, but it's enough. Laken Tomlinson is a C-plus offensive guard. It's not good, but it's enough. Titus Howard, let's give him a B, maybe a B-. Blake Fisher, B, perfectly fine. They also got Trent fucking Brown. Trent Brown's their swing tackle. Oh yeah, Ariante Ursary, who I think should have been a top 10 pick, is their second swing tackle. They could build a line out of tackles. And then on the interior, Jarrett Patterson, C plus B minus center. But again, the backups are Ed Ingram, Jake Matthews, and Juice Scruggs. Those are 3 dudes who can play in this fucking league. They have 2 offensive lines. They have 2 decent offensive lines. And they have 2 sets of receivers who are good. And they have 2 running backs who are solid. And frankly, they have 2 quarterbacks who are almost identical caliber, but we won't go there. People aren't ready. And again, it's not that I love Davis Mills. It's that I think Davis Mills is mid as fuck. And so is CJ Stroud. But CJ Stroud talks a lot of shit and went to Ohio State. So people think he's great. By the way, their defense will be better than their offense. The more I talk about it, the more I freaking love this team and hate CJ Stroud for ruining it.
Yeah, because that defense, they were good last year. They're probably going to be a little bit better this year, and they still have D'Amico Ryans.
Yeah, D'Amico Ryans, really good defensive coordinator. Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter. It's kind of it. You don't need to keep talking, but you could because you still got Danico Autry, and what's left of him is solid. Folu Fatakasi is fine. Tim Settle is a little less than fine. Mario Edwards Jr. had that one really good season with the Bears, but he's mid as fuck. Derek Barnett as a swing rotational edge is pretty goddamn useful.
Yeah, that's insane.
And then the linebackers. I love Henry To'oTo'o. I like Azeez Al-Shaair. I kind of hate him as a guy because he seems like a real piece of shit, but he's a good football player. And then, Christian Harris, also one of my very favorites. Between Harris and To'oTo'o, you've got rangy, smart linebackers flying around, and then Azeez Al-Shaair committing personal fouls, ripping guys' face masks off, and rarely getting called for it. Might even punch a guy around the sideline or two. Talk Chinese on him. And then the secondary is better. Derek Stingley is a superstar. It turns out he was incredible as a freshman at LSU, and then he just stopped caring. Turns out he was waiting for the NFL. Fine by me. Guy's going to get paid in 2 years, and we'll see if he actually cares after that. But for now, he's great. Remember Kamari Lassiter out of Georgia?
Yeah.
And I was pissed. I was like, why is he falling out of the first round? He's gigantic and fast. He just can't move laterally. He's a perfect cover 3 corner. Guess what kind of system D'Amico Ryans runs? Whole lot of cover 3. Jalen Petrie, one of my maybe my favorite slot corner in the NFL, just because he's like that perfect safety corner hybrid that people thought Minkah Fitzpatrick was. And then I recently did some studying up on Kalen Bullock. I never knew anything about Kalen Bullock out of USC. I never heard his name before
Yeah, I
like
don't
3
know
days
anything
ago.
about him.
3 days ago, Nate Tice put me on him. This is a good free safety. Now, he can't tackle, but he is tall, he is fast, and he is smart. He is a true free safety. And in a cover 3 system, that is very helpful because cover 3 usually ends up looking kind of like cover 1 with man on the outside.
Yeah.
So I think
mean-
Bullock is going to be like an A- player.
Yeah, just pure center field.
Yeah. But like this is a guy I'd never heard of, and he's an A-. And then who plays strong safety? Is it CJ Gardner-Johnson? Is it Jimmy Ward? I don't think either of those guys is nearly as good as their name brand is, but if they're the worst player in your secondary, it's a pretty good fucking secondary. In fact, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson or Jimmy Ward will be the worst player on this defense. And that's a pretty good fucking defense. But defense doesn't win championships, and I see this team as being like a win or 2 better than last year, but I also see the Jaguars stealing at least one of those wins back from them, and then it's just offense wins out. The better quarterback with the better offensive coach will be better.
Yeah, I mean, I think like how good their defense is gives them a ton of leeway on that though, because they're going to get extra possessions, they're going to get short fields. They're only going to have to score 3 times. So, like, that's where I would get concerned about. Like, Jacksonville, I still expect to have a good defense, but not on the same level that Houston's is.
Yeah, no, Jacksonville will be a decent defense. Houston will be a legitimately good defense.
And I don't know if there's going to be enough of a difference between Jacksonville's offense and Houston's offense to make up for that.
I don't think the difference between Jacksonville's offense, if we're just comparing deltas, the delta will be smaller on offense in favor of Jacksonville than it will be on defense in favor of Houston, but I don't think defense matters much.
Yeah, I mean, I think in like regular season it matters more, but just because like, you know, if you have a really good defense, you're not going to be able to like game plan as much as you would in, you know, playoff matchup or something to get around it. So that's where I worry about like the regular season team totals, but we're not betting on Jacksonville to beat Houston's team total, just on Jacksonville to be over 7.5.
I could very well see both of these teams winning about 10 games and having like a coin flip for who wins the division.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I think it'll be. Like I would probably give the edge to Houston just because you know, the coach has been there a couple years, their defense is really good, and like while I don't really like CJ Stroud, I also don't have a ton of faith in Trevor Lawrence. But I think they're really close. And Jacksonville could be better because you're right in that having a good offense gives you a higher ceiling than having a really good defense.
I think that wraps up the AFC South. We're going over on Jacksonville. I think nine is good for the Texans. Like that's where they belong. If Stroud stinks, they probably win 8.
I think 9.5 is like the perfect number.
If Stroud was the guy that people thought he is, they're like a 12-win team. This is a really good team.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's hop on over to the NFC because I got more bets I like.
Yeah, we're gonna have some fun over here. First up, we have the New Orleans Saints with a win total of 4.5.
This shit's batshit fucking insane to me, dude.
Yeah, I mean, like big changes. You know, new quarterback, new head coach, and like they were bad last year. But man, I don't know.
Okay, the handicap is really simple. People basically think that Tyler Shuck is terrible and that the Saints will have the worst quarterback of the entire league. Then there are those of us who watch Tyler Shuck play and know that he's really good. Now, maybe he gets hurt. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. Talk to a doctor. I'm a different kind of doctor. I'm a words doctor, not a bones doctor. Those gross me out. But if Tyler Shuck plays, I don't know. He's probably the second best quarterback in the division. Can't be first. That's pretty well taken. But
right.
I mean, the competition's Bryce Young and Michael Penix. Michael Penix, people are really excited about him too for some reason. I do not know why, but we'll save that for like 10 minutes from now. The thrust of my evaluation is I think Tyler Shuck's really good. And even if he's mid as fuck, that's a lot better than being the worst in the league like a lot of people expect.
Yeah.
And you look at their wide receivers. Last year, Chris Olave missed almost all the season. This year, they have him back and they're adding Brandon Cooks and they have Rashid Shaheed. So suddenly you've got a big-armed, tall quarterback with great deep accuracy throwing to three really fucking fast deep threats at wide receiver. Brandon Cooks is still pretty damn good.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Chris Olave, when he's healthy, is really, really good. And Rashid Shaheed, somebody needs to figure out how to use him more often because he's one of the most electric players in the world with the ball in his hands. The way he moves is different. And then the offensive line has gotten a really nice retool as well. I think the Saints may have saved Trevor Penning's career by kicking him inside to guard because he's an incredible run blocker, but he just can't pass block because he doesn't have the footwork. He doesn't know how to move on the outside. But at guard, you don't need to move. You just need to be strong.
Yeah.
Kelvin Banks is fine. He's a fine tackle. They overdraft him? Yeah, they should have taken Ursery, but he's fine. B, maybe B+. Talisa Fuaga, B. Cesar Ruiz, B+. Eric McCoy, B to B+. Solid across the board, right? And then I like Foster Moreau, assuming he's healthy. I like Juwan Johnson. I kind of like that Taysom Hill seems to be basically out of the picture. I think Alvin Kamara is washed as fuck, but I really like Kendre Miller if he could ever just stay healthy for 5 fucking minutes one time, please. And I think that Kellen Moore is the epitome of average as an offensive coordinator, which is plenty for this team. Because again, we're not asking him to light the world on fire. We're asking him, can they be not the worst team in the NFL? And I think that offense right there is 13 to 19, somewhere in that range. It is middle of the pack offense.
That's a hell of a lot better offense than Tennessee has. I'd say it's a better offense than Indy, even though I don't think it's quite as good like across the field. But assuming Shuck is anything close to what you think he is, he's a hell of a lot better than Daniel Jones and Anthony Richardson.
So to be clear, just based on film, I believe that Tyler Shuck is a certainly top 8, maybe top 6 quarterback in this league. Now, obviously, he's going to take a little while to adjust to the NFL. So like, he's not going to be that in early September, but I think that he will be that by, October, November, right? Like my grade for him is about a 2.8. If he could reach a 2.8 at some point this season, he's a top 5 guy. Let's say I'm totally wrong. I'm so far off. He's a 2.3. Okay, that's CJ Stroud caliber. Like I could be very far off and he could still be perfectly solid. And again, a 2.3, second best quarterback in the fucking division. And he gets to play Bryce Young and Michael Penix twice.
Yeah.
Then you move to the defense, eternally good. Chase Young, they got him at a pretty decent price, and he showed flashes of being Chase Young once again. I don't know what the hell it is. He's still got the athleticism. He just doesn't seem to want to play football that much or even want to learn to play football that much. But Chase Young is fine. Carl Granderson and Cameron Jordan in rotation are enough. Isaiah Foskey's okay as a rotational edge as well. But Devon Godshaw is solid. Kalen Saunders is solid. And Brian Brise he's really good at rushing the passer. He's terrible at stuffing the run. But I don't care because their defensive ends are so good against the run. And then the linebackers are really where I get excited. I mean, Pete Werner, Demario Davis, even Danny Stutzman. Stutzman is just your classic white neck roll linebacker. He's going to thump the run, and you do not want to see him in coverage one time.
But you don't need him in coverage when you got Demario Davis back there.
Yeah, and Pete Werner. Stutzman's probably barely going to play, but I really like all 3 of those guys. Your secondary, yeah, Kool-Aid McKinstry's overrated, but he's fine. He's like a really good cornerback too. Isaac Yiadom as your other starting corner, that's kind of a problem. You should look to address that, but we like Alontae Taylor a lot in the slot. Tyrann Mathieu is fine. Justin Reed is smart and won't fuck up that much. We're looking at a solid defense. Unfortunately, their defensive coordinator is Brandon Staley.
Yeah, that's not great.
They're going to suck.
Yeah, maybe that's part of it. Because just looking at this roster, this seems like a team that should have a win total similar to Indianapolis. Just for reference to teams we've talked about
6.5
already today. Yeah, I think they should be below 500, but around that area. Yeah. And they're at 4.5.
I completely agree. And I think that number is way off. Let's look at their schedule real quick, because when I did the math, I came out with about 8 wins. I can move off of that because Brandon Staley is that bad. This defense has a solid roster. It will be a bottom 10 defense. Brandon Staley, let's put it this way. He's not well regarded, in my opinion. Do some focusing, figure out what I'm trying to say. Listen, they're going to lose to Buffalo, but that's really the only guaranteed loss I see on their schedule. The toughest games will be San Francisco, the Bears, the Rams. That's it. Their tough games are Bears, Rams, 49ers, Bills.
Tampa.
Fuck. Yeah, Tampa. But they always play Tampa really fucking tough.
Yeah.
Their easiest games will be Cardinals, Panthers, Titans, whoever they play week 16, who I deleted on accident.
Atlanta.
I don't know. And then they just have a lot of close games. Oh, they got the Giants. That's very winnable.
Yeah.
But then, most of their games are 50-50 games. All right, their schedule in order goes Arizona, San Francisco, Arizona, 50-50. San Francisco, loss. Seattle, 50-50. Buffalo, loss. Giants, likely win. Patriots, 50-50. Bears, likely loss. Rams, likely loss. Tampa, likely loss. Carolina, probably win. Bye week, then Atlanta. Coming off the bye, they probably win. Miami, 50-50. Tampa, let's call it 50-50 because we gave the other one to Tampa. Carolina, again, 50-50. I don't know who it is, but I think that they beat that team. We should probably look that up. Tennessee, I think that's a win. Atlanta, one more time. Iffy.
Yeah, that's 6.5, 7 wins.
Booyah. Let's look up really quickly who the fuck they play. Who are we looking up?
New Orleans Saints.
Yep. Damn it. No, wrong one. Dude, why do they make it so hard to find the fucking schedule? I guess they didn't make it that hard. Oh, it's the fucking Jets.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
Yeah, so they're going to win that fucking game. Oh, dude, all I had to do was press unmerge on my fucking spreadsheet. Okay. Well, yeah, they're going to beat the fucking Jets. Sorry, the Lady Bird Watcher, but everybody's going to beat the Jets.
Yeah.
So, yeah, 4.5, ludicrous. I think we have at least a 2-game cushion, and God forbid, we have a 2-game cushion if Tyler Shuck's okay. If Tyler Shuck is special, if he's Justin Herbert level or close, because I don't think he'll be Justin Herbert level, but I think he'll be a notch below. If that's the case, 8 wins is totally within bounds.
Yeah. No, I like it. I think it's a good bet.
Because they're only out of 2 games.
Yeah. Obviously, they could suck. Their defense could be terrible. Shuck could have a really tough time adjusting, and then they win 4 games. But that's all worst case scenario because 4 games is so few.
Exactly. If everything is terrible, they beat the Jets, they beat the Panthers one time, they probably beat Tennessee, and then we have the rest of and they probably beat the Giants, and we're already at 4 wins looking for one more win for the rest of the fucking year.
Right. So that's where I think just on the numbers of it, it's a good bet because they got to win 5 of 17.
Yeah. And it's a team that might have a great quarterback with a solid roster around him.
Yeah, and a coach that won't make them worse.
All right, so our second season win total bet of the year, we're going Saints over. Cha-ching.
Cha-ching.
Who we got next?
Next up, we have the Carolina Panthers with a win total projection of 6.5.
I think that's just right.
Yeah, I think it's a good number.
I love Tet McMillan. I think he's going to be a stud. I think he's exactly what this team needed. They don't really have much around him. I think Xavier Legette is a bust in the making. They're just waiting to find out that he's a bust. I think the offensive line is super mid, if maybe a little worse. I think Ike Ekwonu is just a mess mentally. I think Damian Lewis is bad. I think Robert Hunt is very mediocre. I think Taylor Moton is okay, but mistake prone. Austin Corbett's good. Kind of good. Tommy Tremble is nothing, and Bryce Young is 3 games of looking pretty decent, and then everything else is terrible. I think he'll probably, on average, be below average. So, Dave Canales does not move the needle for me on offense. I think he proved that pretty well last year. So, I know there's a lot of optimism for the Panthers, but I don't really see it on offense, and then the defense has weaknesses. Do you have anything to add on the offense before I switch to the other side of the ball?
No, I mean, the offense, they didn't really change that much. Obviously, they got Tet, he's awesome, or we expect him to be very good. But otherwise, the offense is very similar to it was last year. And I don't know how much improvement you should really expect besides just hoping that Bryce Young, a switch has magically flipped.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are just banking on, Bryce Young looked pretty decent at the end of the season last year. That's the new Bryce Young. And it's okay, first of all, small sample. Second of all, even the pretty decent games were okay. They were B games. It's not like he was throwing up some B+, A- games. They were pretty fine. And then, on defense, you still don't really have a pass rush. Your edges are going to be, I guess, Patrick Jones and DJ Wanham. What? Yeah, because Derek Brown's a nose tackle, and Tershawn Wharton is a 3 technique. Bobby Brown is a nose tackle, and he's not even going to play much. Ashawn Robinson, I like, but he's a defensive tackle. I guess, yeah, they're going to eventually start Nick Scourton. I don't know what the fuck Depth Charts is doing here, but I like Scorton. I don't know how to say his last name. I've only ever read it, but I really like his tape. He's built kind of like Brandon Graham, got a really sick spin move. So he's kind of short, but a little heavy, but he slimmed down for the combine, and I don't know if he's going to keep the weight off. Got a sick fucking spin move, and he was really productive at Purdue, transferred to Texas A&M, and then they made him gain a bunch of weight and play a different style, and it didn't work as well for him. So he went from being like a perceived top 10 pick to like a second round pick. I gave him a low B+ grade. I think he's going to be a good starter. It's not a good sign that he's not slated to start already.
Yeah, but that might just be, we haven't even got to the preseason yet.
Yeah, but like even if he's everything I thought he'll be, that's your only edge.
Yeah.
So their pass rush is not going to exist. Their linebackers are, shall we say, coverage averse. Josie Jewell is not a Will Compton type. He's not a coverage white. He is a run stuffing white. Trevin Wallace, I'm not going to pretend I know his game that well. That's not a good sign for him. Well, I guess they did draft Princely Umanmiel. I don't know how to say his last name. It's Haitian. He's really fast, but he's not good at football. Went to Ole Miss. He's a skinny, tall, fast guy who's not very good. That's all I have to say about that. And then their secondary, Michael Jackson, who now goes by Mike. Who the hell is Chow Smith Wade? Is that Sean Wade? Who the hell is this guy?
I have no idea. So he got drafted last year?
Yeah, dude. What?
It can't be Sean Wade.
Who the hell? Okay, well, that's not good. He got drafted?
Yeah,
fifth round. Okay, I'm not feeling bad about not knowing him. Yeah, so that's not good if he's a starting corner. And he's out there with Mike Jackson, and JC Horn will probably play 4 or 5 games this year, as usual. I love him, but the guy can't stay on the field, and he was not fast to begin with, so it's starting to get scary.
Yeah.
And then your safeties are one Damani Richardson.
No idea.
You see my eyes? Roll them. There they go. And I like Trevon Merrick.
Yeah. I mean, he isn't what we hoped he would be, but he's a player.
Yeah, he's a solid player. And then I won't give up on you, Nick Scott. I've seen too much good in you. But if you can't start over Damani Richardson, maybe I can give up on you.
It just feels like their defense is crafted to play football before the forward pass was invented.
And it wouldn't have been good back then, but it would have been okay.
Yeah,
it is a bad defense.
Because it's like a lot of like run stuffers and space fillers, and then like JC Horn, Trevin Merrick.
What if we're not prepared enough for the possibility that this team sucks major asshole like it has for the last 3 years?
Yeah, I mean, it really could. Like, I think Canales is a decent coach. Like, I don't think he's great, but I think he's better than like when they had Matt Rule there.
Well, so's a dirty fart.
Right. So like, I think that automatically means they're going to win at least like a few games. And, like they added some stuff that theoretically the defense, no, I don't even know if that's true though, because none of the guys are really that exciting.
Yeah, really this entire offseason, all they've added is Ted. And Ted's good.
Yeah, like Ted's and he should be, he should be able to kind of unlock some of that offense.
I mean, I think Ted's going to be an A wide receiver. I think he's going to be a top 15, maybe top 10 receiver this year. But I'm sorry, I had a protein shake burp a little bit. Yeah, the defense is bad, and their quarterback's mostly been terrible.
Yeah. Like, I mean, having that option in Ted to just chuck a ball up, we've seen a lot of quarterbacks have successful careers off of, hey, I have a really good receiver. Let me just throw it in his area.
True.
and go get 40 yards or get a pass interference and get a first down or whatever. But
I mean, how many wins do you perceive this team to be worth, though?
I don't know. I mean, 6.5. It's hard to go under 6.5.
Well, I'm not going under.
Yeah, but like, because unless they're god awful, that's a tough number to play with for the same reason that we bet on New Orleans, is because it's just hard to only win a few games.
I have Carolina winning 6 games. I do not have a single easy win on their entire schedule.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that's the way this team is crafted. Like, they're going to go run. They're going to try and slow games down and then probably chuck balls to Ted.
Their out of division schedule is Cardinals, Patriots, Dolphins, Cowboys, Jets, but they're on the same caliber as the Jets. Bills, Packers, 49ers. Everybody plays the 49ers today, I guess. Rams, the Saints, Tampa. Oh, those are in division. And Seattle. Their saving grace is that they get Tampa week 18, and Tampa probably will have already locked up the division.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so I think that's where they're at. We'll see what happens with Bryce Young, but it's not a super exciting roster.
Yeah,
You
like
got questions?
how can you get excited about that roster and not the Saints?
Yeah, just because one of the quarterbacks was the first overall pick, and one of them got shit on a bunch throughout the draft process.
Except one of them is 7 inches taller, throws the ball about 20 yards further, was far more productive despite having lesser teams. And they were both 5-star recruits.
Doesn't matter. Played 5 years, got hurt, sucks.
It's true. Tyler Shuck does suck. He couldn't start over Justin Herbert as a freshman. All right.
Well,
do we have
time
one?
for-
Oh, no, we have two more. All right, let's hop.
Next up, we have the Atlanta Falcons with a projected win total of 7.5.
It's just right. For the umpteenth year in a row, the Falcons have everything except the quarterback, and it's going to stay that way. Bijan Robinson, top 5 running back, maybe top 3.
Yeah, he's great.
Like, Ashton Genty's in the conversation, but it's basically Saquon and those two. And, like, you can tell me I'm done. Christian McCaffrey, if he's healthy, but who knows if he'll ever walk again.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Derrick Henry's there anymore. Regardless, we're going too far in running backs. Bijan's incredible.
Yeah.
Kyle Pitts is bad at football despite being tall and fast. Drake London is sick. Darnell Mooney is really good. Ray McLeod is very useful. Kadarius Hodge, people have fallen in love with him many times. I'm sure it'll happen again at some point.
I'll always root for Kadarius Hodge.
I won't, because I don't understand why people like him so much. Their tackles, Jake Matthews and Caleb Gary, good. Legit B+ A- guys. Chris Lidstrom and Matt Bergeron, both legit good. B+ A- guards. Ryan Newsel, who's taking over for Drew Dahlman, I see no drop-off. I think Drew Dahlman was a little bit overrated because he's surrounded by so many good players and because he's in such a run-friendly offense. I think the same thing is going to happen for Ryan Newsel. Michael Penix is super fucking inaccurate and super fucking immobile and takes bad sacks. I do not think he will be starting in the NFL next year.
So, like, he had, how many games did he play last year? 1, 2?
4.
4? Wow. I was really checked out of the end of the regular season last year.
He didn't play. He played the Panthers twice, I think. So, like, you're not watching that. I think he played the Saints once. You're not watching that. And I think he played the Bucs, which you should have watched.
Yeah, I think I saw that one.
For some reason, there is a pretty significant sect on Twitter who thinks that, like, Michael Penix proved last year he's awesome. And I know his name is Penix, but Penix is so much funnier. When he becomes an accurate passer, I'll call him Penix. But for now, limp Penix. He's just really inaccurate. Like, there were several balls last year that he threw and completed where he was aiming for a different receiver. It happened multiple times.
It's not good. That's not what you want as a quarterback.
I don't see the reason for optimism. Like, yeah, his arm is strong. We always knew that. He's not good. He never should have been a first round pick. He's so inaccurate.
And he's old, and he's really injury prone.
I have to stop using old as an excuse for a little while because I like Tyler Shuck. Now, it's not that I'm being hypocritical. It's that there's a nuanced argument here about, like, Tyler Shuck just didn't play. It's not that he couldn't. It's not that he would have been bad if he did. It's just that he was hurt. Whereas, like, Michael Penix didn't play well in college until he was old because he needed to be a grown man amongst boys in order to be good. So, like, he needed to reach the apex of his physical and mental development before he could actually beat players who were not at their apexes. And in the NFL, everybody's at their apex, so it's a moot point. Whereas Tyler Shuck, like, would have been really good as a sophomore and junior. He just wasn't allowed to play because broken bones. So I guess I did do the full in-depth analysis that I said was too annoying to do. Anyhow, I like Zach Robinson, their offensive coordinator. I just don't trust their quarterback. I think it's a little bit of a Colts situation, and I think that Penix is better. See, when I respect him, Penix. I think Penix is better than Daniel Jones. I think Penix is better than Anthony Richardson because duh. I don't think he's good, and I think he has significant potential for the bottom to fall out, Desmond Ridder style.
Yeah. And, like, with some teams where, like, for the Titans, for example, if Cam Ward gets hurt, we feel pretty comfortable that Will Levis could come in and run a similar type of offense. Now, maybe he's ruined from last year. There's some difference that it would be a totally different offense. But Kirk Cousins, as we saw last year, just literally can't do it anymore. Like, he doesn't have the ability to throw the ball far enough to be a quarterback.
No, it's really frustrating because, like, He's still smart and he's still accurate. He just
Yeah.
can't get the ball out there.
Yeah.
I think I saw a
And
stat, like they keep, now that they have the GPS chips in the ball, they keep track of how fast the ball is coming out of a quarterback's hand. I think the average is about 50 miles an hour, and Kirk Cousins' highest velocity was about 45 miles an hour last year.
yeah,
So like
it's
even when he's zipping it, it's just not there.
yeah, and I mean just watching him, it just looks like he's putting everything he can into throwing the ball like 12 yards.
Yeah.
So it's also like if Penix gets hurt or the bottom falls out, they don't have another option to kind of like help float them.
Yeah. There's a possibility that he needed more time to come back from his Achilles injury and Kirk Cousins will be good again. But
Maybe.
there's a possibility I still hit that growth spurt.
Yeah, like he's another year older and like he's never really had the strongest arm.
Yeah. Yeah, you could find HGH just like Peyton Manning's wife did that one time.
All right, how about the defense on the Falcons?
I fucking hate it like sin. So they made a splash. Remember how I said that it's been told to me that you certainly can never draft two of the same position in the same draft, much less the same round?
Yeah. I've heard
Falcons also broke that rule. They drafted two defensive ends in the first round and somehow didn't get a good one.
that.
They drafted Jalen Walker, who I don't understand how people think Jalen Walker could be good, but a lot of people think he's fucking elite. Like, there's a lot of really dumb draft nicks out there who just like hear the popular names and then write up a glowing report saying like he's super elite because I heard people think he's good. Jalen Walker's a classic case of went to Georgia, 5-star recruit. People really like him as a man. They say he's got like the best attitude and work ethic ever. Here's a problem. He's 6'1", 230 and a defensive end. And I know what you're thinking. Maybe if he's just got electric speed, it'll be okay. He doesn't. He's known for winning with his mind. And at Georgia, couldn't lock down a full-time defensive ends position. He had to also play linebacker, which he was not good at.
Winning with your mind is not what you want out of an edge rusher.
Yeah, edge rushers should not be able to think. Look at Max Crosby. He's had 4 thoughts ever. Great at defensive end. Jalen Walker, again, 6 foot and change. Barely, like not even 6'1", 240 pounds. But like, not really. Didn't run at the combine because not really 240 pounds. And he's not that athletic. Like, yeah, he's fast for a defensive end, but it's nothing crazy. So that's their big splash top 10 pick. And then they supplemented it with James Pierce Jr. James Pierce Jr. probably will quit the game of football in the next 3 years, if any of the reports I've heard are true. And I don't like to get into like voodoo off-field scouting. And like, I'm going to sound a little hypocritical if you're not a careful thinker, because I just said I don't care that Jalen Walker's a great guy. I don't. It means he checks the box. It doesn't mean I suck his dick. On the other hand, James Pierce Jr. apparently at Tennessee would just like disappear from campus for days and nobody could find him to make him go to practice. And then he'd show up for games, underwhelmed because he was supposed to be the first overall pick this past year, but then had a really bad final season at Tennessee. Like, not really bad, but very underwhelming. I just got a muscle spasm in my arm. I worked out like right before this and I went too hard. And now no position to sit in on this bed is comfortable because my arms are being strained.
I like to think that it's because talking about the Atlanta Falcons draft process makes you this upset that your body is literally seizing.
I'd like to make fun of you, but you might be right. Anyhow, James Pierce's game when he's on and cares about football, which again, not that often, is that he's long, 6'5", skinny as hell, probably also 230 pounds, but very fast. Not that quick, not very agile. Does not have good pass rush moves, but he is fast. That's not a recipe for great success, and it reminds me a lot of a guy named Leonard Floyd, who's starting over him in Atlanta, which is also a bad thing. They've built the edge room out of shit I fucking hate. Oh, also, Arnold Ebiketie, who was drafted specifically because his arms are long and not because he's any good at football. They have 4 defensive ends who they have invested a lot of money and draft capital in, and they have 0 good defensive ends. That's gonna be bad, Jim. I don't know who Jim is, but it's you right now. Their defensive tackles, unfortunately, very fun. We like David Onyemata. I really love Contavious Street when he has ACLs, which is literally never. He's never finished a season with an ACL. And he might not be the super freak athlete that he once was, because how many times can your knees fucking tear? Contavious?
Hey, maybe the 4th ACL he gets is going to be
the good one.
The dead person that they took that ligament from had really great sinew.
At this point, I don't know what they're sewing into, but alas. Morgan Fox is a good 3 technique. And I even like Ruke Orahoro. There's too many vowels in that last
Ooh,
name and too
yeah,
many
that's
R's and H's. They all blur together to me. I get a little dyslexic. I don't like it. But I think he could be solid. So they're good at defensive tackle, but fuck do I hate their edges. And defensive tackle doesn't mean that much. Edge does.
yeah.
Moving out to linebackers, if they start Divine Diablo over Troy Anderson, I'm gonna shit bricks. Divine Diablo, you may remember him as a safety drafted by the Raiders.
hmm
He can't fucking move, so he became a linebacker. But the problem is he still can't fucking move in pass coverage. So again, not a Will Compton type. Also, the name Divine Diablo doesn't look like Will Compton. Probably the coolest and most satanic name in all of sports history.
Yeah, it's sick.
I think it literally translates to Holy Satan,
Yeah, I think pretty much.
spelled entirely wrong, but it literally means Saint Lucifer.
Well, that's how you keep some space between you and the devil. You spell it different.
You change one letter.
Exactly. You're creating space, but you still want
The tail growing out of your backside and the horns from your forehead. Don't
you
piss off Divine Diablo. I'm sure Divine Diablo is a swell man. I don't want to find out because it could be the fucking Antichrist.
yeah, you piss him off, he's gonna change that E in his name to an I, and then we're all gonna have fucking problems.
Speaking of having problems, the secondary. Now I know Jesse Bates had a resurgent season last year. He's like 33.
Yeah.
And I like AJ Terrell, but D. Alford has been average for so long that he has slipped below average. And Mike Hughes will never live up to the hype. Mike Hughes has long been one of these guys that like really in-depth football analysts are like, there's something there. And I no longer think there's something there. I think there just isn't. I think that we've seen it. It's not enough. I'm sorry. Goodbye. Jordan Fuller or Xavier Watts starting at free safety isn't good enough for me. And frankly, it's a Raheem Morris defense. It will be soft.
Yeah.
They're going to play zones. They're going to give you space. They're going to let you take the underneath. I don't see this team as being any different at all from the one last year. The one last year got lucky and won 8 games.
I think 9.
Yeah, because they almost made the playoffs over Todd Bowles' dumb ass because Todd Bowles gave them 2 games. Alas, I can't see them winning more than 9 games.
Yeah. And, if you say, oh, well, they're going to win 9 games and it's at 7.5, you should think over, but I don't want to do that. And I don't think it's enough of a cushion to feel even remotely
a game and a half
comfortable.
with a bad quarterback is not enough cushion.
Yeah. Especially when the backup is unable to throw passes.
And I don't totally trust the coaching. I don't like the head coach, and the offensive coordinator was a little bit underwhelming from, considering what I expected.
Yeah.
He's fine, but I thought he might be better.
Who knows? Maybe with a quarterback that can actually throw downfield, it'll open up the offense and it'll help out. But
I want to
even
talk
then,
about a quarterback that throws downfield. We have one team left, and they can certainly throw the ball down the field.
Thank God they can. We have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with a win total projection of 9.5.
I want to go over so bad because if this team had just fucking shit canned Todd Bowles, they'd be a 13-win team. And if you just look at the roster, this is a Super Bowl contender. But Todd Bowles I think his brain needs to be restarted. I mean, I really just think that this restart would fix everything. I fucking hate Todd Bowles, dude. I'm sorry. I'm trying not to say
Yeah, I mean, but how many years have we had to watch Todd Bowles do this?
He's so dumb. And they fucking extended him. 6 months ago, they were saying, if he doesn't win one more game, we're going to fire him. Which is a dumb thought process in the first place, because it's like, hey, buddy, he put you in a position where if you don't get lucky, he fucked himself. So don't let him unfuck himself by getting lucky again. Just don't. And then as soon as you get to the playoffs, you lose because he makes bad decisions. Are you fucking kidding? Are you fucking kidding? The exact same thing. My arm seized up.
It's really, it is the rage.
It is. It totally is the rage. And also I need a banana. It's very hot in New York, goddammit. All right. I'm going to try not to have any muscle spasms. I'm going to try to get through this hate rant clean. Todd Bowles almost cost the Buccaneers what should have been a sure playoff spot last year by making terrible decisions late in games and on 4th downs. So, the Buccaneers leak rumors that they're going to fire him if the Falcons don't lose one of their last 2 games, right? Like, if the Falcons win both of their last 2 games, it doesn't matter what the Bucs do. The Falcons make the playoffs, the Bucs miss it. Which means It spazzed again, which means the Buccaneers said, unless we get lucky based on shit happening outside of our team, we're firing you. And then they did get lucky, and the Falcons did fuck up, which again has nothing to do with Todd Bowles. So they made the playoffs, and immediately upon making the playoffs, they lost a game to an inferior team because Todd Bowles' defense couldn't get a fucking stop ever. And despite having one inaccurate pass all game, the Buccaneers only threw the ball 19 times and did not score, also did not go for it on any fourth downs. That is the definition of insanity. Saying, I know that this shark keeps biting me, but maybe if I give it one more chance, it won't bite me. Oh, it bit me! But maybe there's still good in that shark. Because they just fucking extended him. And my sources inside the building say it's because even when the shit got tough last year, the team never gave up on him because they love him because he's such a great man. Hey, you know why shit got tough? Because he's a fucking dumb man. He's a really dumb human. I'm sorry. And usually I say like, oh, you know, I don't know what he is as a man, but as a football player, he's dumb. I know what Todd Bowles is as a man. It's a dumb guy. You hear him talk? It's one word every 38 seconds. And they're not good words. And when they string into sentences eventually, and you forensically fucking reconstruct the fucking 8 minutes of one sentence, it's a dumb sentence. He's a dumb man. I know he's a sweet guy. There's a lot of really nice dumb people. They call them angel children. And I can't say what they're definitionally called in medical textbooks. But rest assured, listen, Alex, it's going to be okay. I've been assured by multiple sources down in Tampa. The Bucs, they're going to fix everything because they're going to keep Todd Bowles' sweet angel child qualities, but they're going to strip him of every fucking responsibility of a head coach. He's not calling plays on the defense the way he did last year. They made him either change his philosophy completely or be fired or promote somebody to call the plays. He's going to call the plays again, but he's changed his playbook. How has he done it? We don't fucking know. We hope and pray it means he plays some press or man coverage one time ever, please, for fuck's sake, but probably not, because he's dumb, so he's not capable of doing the easy, smart things. He can only shit in his face.
If part of your conditions for keeping a coach around are that he needs to change his coaching, feels like you should just fire him.
Well, it gets better, Alex, because they also said you absolutely need to go out and hire somebody to make fourth down and timeout decisions for you because your clock management and game strategy are bad. And he did. So apparently they went and got a guy from Baltimore who's supposed to be a really good fucking whiz. Fat fucking chance that Bowles listens to him on game day, but at least the right answer will be in his ear for him to promptly ignore or drool on himself.
So he's just head cheerleader?
Yes, but wait, there's more. Because the upside of all this change and making Todd Bowles bend over backwards to be a different person from the one that you hired is that now you get to pray that the guy who was fired from the Miami Dolphins as a wide receivers coach 2 years ago can be just as good as your top 7 offensive coordinator from last year. Now, the alternative solution was to simply promote that great offensive coordinator, but I mean, I can't even think of the fucking argument against it other than Bucs fans being pussy hurt that he chose to take a promotion elsewhere rather than signing on to mediocrity and dead-ending his career in Tampa. We were going to pay him the most of an offensive coordinator. Yeah, and he quadrupled his salary overnight by getting more prestige. That's kind of a good thing. I like my law firm. If somebody offered me a position as a partner right now in a different city, I'd be fucking gone. So, if the Buccaneers had a different coach, I think this would be a Super Bowl roster. But they don't, so they're not.
Do you want to talk about any of the specific additions or anything, or does it not really matter because they still have Baker Mayfield, Mike Evans, a good offensive line, and Todd Bowles, and we know what all those things are?
Yeah, I mean, like Bucky Irving, he's really good. I think that a lot of his stats were a little bit of a product of Liam Cohen having a great run design last year, but I also think Bucky Irving's good. Top 8 running back. Baker Mayfield, last year, he was the best quarterback in the NFL. I love Baker Mayfield. I doubt he plays as good as he did last year again, ever, because like the only people who ever have, in my estimation, are like Tom Brady and Josh Allen since 2020. So I love Baker Mayfield. I don't think he's a surefire first ballot Hall of Famer, and therefore I don't think he continues to string together ridiculously amazing seasons.
Yeah, and I think that makes sense.
I think the offensive line is significantly overrated. Baker Mayfield, according to basically any metric you look at, was the best quarterback under pressure last year or amongst them, which kind of like takes a lot of the blame off the offensive line. I think Tristan Wirfs is amazing. He's hurt, going to miss 4 weeks. I think that Graham Barton is going to take a giant step forward this year, and I think he'll be legitimately very good after being kind of shaky last year. But then your guards are Cody Mauch and Ben Bredesen, both of whom kind of stink. And your right tackle is Luke Gadecki, who isn't good. I love Jake Majors. Maybe he can compete for a guard spot with Bredesen, but probably not. And Charlie Heck is an okay swing tackle. Not a good one, but a fine enough one. We'll see how he does weeks 1 through 4. It's gonna be bad. Their offensive line is going to be bad for the first 4 weeks. And then when Wirfs comes back, it'll be okay. Luckily, the wide receivers are really good. Mike Evans is great, especially now that he's healthy again, because he played most of the year really hurt. Chris Godwin is really, really good as a slot. The problem, they drafted Emeka Ibuka's slow Jarvis Landry ass, so now Chris Godwin has to play outside where he's not nearly as good. I think it's fucking dumb. But they still have Trey Palmer, they still have Sterling Shepard, they still have Jalen McMillan, and they also sneaky have Tez Johnson. I think Tez Johnson's a better football player than Emeka Ibuka. I think eventually he will start over him, but even if it ends up being Evans, Godwin, Ibuka, that is solid across the board. I think Ibuka's a B, I think Godwin's a B, I think Mike Evans is an A-. Maybe, B+. Maybe A- if like he truly is fully healthy and back to his old ways. That's all fine. And it's all basically what they had last year, if not a little better. But I know Liam Cohen's an awesome offensive coordinator. Josh Grizzard's never called a play at any fucking level in his life.
Yeah.
And then there was a rumor going around over the summer. Oh, Josh Grizzard called all the third down plays last year. First of all, does that make any fucking sense at all? That means that Liam Cohen never called a pass play. You dumb cunts. But it turns out he just installed the third down plays, which means nothing at all. So that's stupid. It's a giant question mark. And people say, oh, Todd Bowles hired Dave Canales and Liam Cohen. He hires good offensive coordinators. Yeah, does he? He was around for Byron Leftwich. He employed Byron Leftwich. This is the worst offensive coordinator I've seen in decades. He made Tom Brady average. That's hard to do.
Yeah, and I think also just when you're still rolling the dice every year if you're doing that. That like even if it's worked out a lot, still all it takes is one guy and then an entire season's kind of ruined.
Well, you also have to look at it like assume, all right, there's 32 NFL teams. That means you want to have one of the 16 best offensive play callers in the world in order to be a good offense, right? Well, there are like 20 offensive head coaches already who call plays. So you're already behind the 8 ball. So you need one of the top 4 offensive coordinators who calls plays in order to have a good offense. And you're just going to roll the dice and hope that this guy who's never fucking done it before is that fucking good. Maybe he is. He went to an Ivy League school. People like him. He's been around Mike McDaniel, who's a genius. He's been around Liam Cohen, who's really good. Maybe this is the next guy. But you know what happens if he is? Next year, Todd Bowles is stuck with his thumb up his ass again, looking for the 4th in a row, and he probably doesn't get it.
Exactly.
Or alternatively, Grizzard sucks. Because eventually, one of them is going to suck and ruin your Pro Bowl laden roster. But let's assume everything's happy and good. And Grizzard's, he's so good. Nobody's ever given him even close to a chance to, he's never been a quarterback coach before. Nobody's ever put him in proximity to calling plays. He's never been close to offensive coordinator before anywhere, even in a high school capacity. But let's just say he's an awesome offensive coordinator, diamond in the rough. You got to pray that Todd Bowles is smart enough to utilize this defense the way it should be, because an average defensive coordinator gets a fuck ton out of this defense. Hassan Reddick is really good. He didn't play last year because he kind of didn't feel like it, but he's really good. Kalijah Cansey and Vita Vea are really good defensive tackles. Logan Hall should probably go somewhere else and not play football there. But Yaya Diaby, Chris Braswell, these are young guys who I also like as pass rushers. God damn it, seized up again. We're starting to get bad. The Bucs get my blood boiling. No team has pissed me off with stupidity more than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the last 5 years, because they just keep getting great rosters and incredible quarterbacks and then just being dumb as fuck.
Yeah, I mean, it's been the most frustrating thing betting-wise, because we love the roster and we think they have underrated players, but then Todd Bowles absolutely hamstrings them.
Yeah, or maybe his good friend Byron Leftwich before him.
Right.
There's just always somebody being way too dumb to be an adult running the Buccaneers because they're a good, swell guy. But yeah, really good defensive tackles, good defensive ends. Levante David probably has 1 year left. They better play a lot of man defense, because if you if you play zone, the linebackers are going to get gashed. Levante David is another year older, and Servasia Dennis sucks. And Anthony Walker sucks. And Deion Jones is ancient. And David Walker is a fucking end, not a linebacker. List them properly. Depth charts, our lads. Come on. This secondary should be unreal. So Zion McCollum's really good, right? Really, really athletic, long corner. Jamel Dean hurt basically all last year, but the year before that, people were talking about him as an excellent top 10 corner.
Yeah.
Again, really tall, incredible movement skills. He's not going to get a lot of interceptions, but he's going to break up a ton of passes. Antoine Winfield, healthy again after missing most of last year with injury. Pro Bowl, borderline all-pro safety. Tyke Smith, now, he played slot last year, and he did a really good job. He demanded to move back to safety this year. I think he'll be really good. And then at nickelback, you've got a competition between Christian Izien, who's kind of the definition of mid, Benjamin Morrison, who would have been a first-round pick if not for some weird injuries that apparently have fully healed, and Jacob Parrish, who's a third-round pick because he's 5'9", but will eventually be an excellent starting slot corner. So they've got 4 or 5 cornerbacks who are like fucking good, plus 2 safeties who can both play slot corner and are good safeties. They have no weaknesses in the secondary, which is why Todd Bowles better play some fucking man defense. God damn it. Instead of this 15 yards off halo prevent coverage with long looping stunt and blitzes, because that doesn't make any fucking sense. If you're blitzing, you're trying to make sure you definitely get pressure later in the down. If you have off coverage, you're daring them to throw short and quick early in the down. So both vectors of your defense are saying, all you have to do is throw short against us and you will never stop profiting. And Todd Bowles can't figure out why it keeps happening to him and why he keeps having bottom 8 ranked defenses. But he's still a defensive guru because we've heard his name a lot. I hate the management of this team. I hate their priorities. I think they built their team dumbly and got lucky. Their priorities are so bad, they drafted a fucking shitty, unathletic wide receiver in the first round, and it didn't matter because 2 really fucking good cornerbacks fell to them anyway. They passed on really good defensive ends, but it doesn't matter because Hassan Reddick fell into their lap for no money. They can't figure out quarterback, but it doesn't matter because they accidentally signed Baker Mayfield, the best quarterback in the NFL, to a $6 million fucking deal. They do everything dumb, and then a rabbit's foot attached to a horseshoe floating on a 4-leaf clover fucks their asshole, and they win. I hate this team. And also their uniforms are ugly, but
at least they got the creamsicles really back this year.
Good. What's that?
So at least they got the old creamsicles back.
I like the creamsicles. The creamsicle Baker Mayfield jersey is fucking sick. I love it. I own one. It's cool. I hate everything about this team. I really like this team. I really like the roster. I think all the priorities are wrong. I think they built it in exactly the most backwards, dumb way, but it doesn't matter because as it is composed, it's really fucking good. The only question is, can their rookie offensive coordinator who got fired 2 years ago as a wide receivers coach, by the way, got fired and replaced with Wes Welker, who got fired a year later. So either Mike McDaniel likes to fire wide receivers coaches or he got replaced with somebody who still wasn't fucking good. Rookie offensive coordinator, dipshit head coach who calls a bad defense. They're going to win 10 fucking games. They're going to win 10 fucking games. If I knew Josh Grizzard would be Dave Canales caliber or better as an offensive play caller, I'd bet the over, but I don't.
Yeah, and it's fair. I mean, we've been burned by it before of going, oh my God, this team's going to be so good. They've got so much talent. The quarterback's incredible. And then Todd Bowles loses like 3 games that they should have won just simply by being a coward.
You know what the worst part is? Their schedule's mad easy. I'm going to list the toughest games, okay? Philadelphia. They always beat Philadelphia because you can't run the ball on the Buccaneers, right? And the Eagles need to run the ball to have any offense.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they've won 3 straight against Philly. San Francisco, we've already discussed, like they're kind of falling apart. Detroit, I expect them to take a huge step back. Buffalo, they were 7 points short of Buffalo last year. Rams, that's it. Those are all their toughest games. And then they've got games against the Jets, the Patriots, the Panthers twice, the Falcons twice. Everybody plays the Arizona Cardinals. It's a
good run. You know they're gonna lose a game to Atlanta that they were winning by 2 scores.
That I have 20 grand on, and they're
Right.
winning with the
And
ball
like
2 minutes left.
that's why I think it's hard to do win projections for a Todd Bowles team, is because you can go through and like do the roster comparison and everything, but it's still Todd Bowles who will inexplicably throw a few games.
You know,
And you never know when they're going to be.
as with most things, dumb hicks in the South tend to actually be right on accident. You can't fix stupid. And the Bucks are stupid because Todd Bowles is stupid. He's stupid. I hope he hears this. I hope he sits in the mirror and he looks at himself and he says, I'm not an intelligent man, and therefore I shouldn't be making strategic decisions in a billion-dollar industry. I'm going to go home. Retire, Todd. Stop. It's become personal. You're so dumb and so paid to think. Alex, in what other world, in what other realm or industry can you be paid millions of dollars to think and make decisions while being a pretty obviously dumb man? Because the vibes are good. Imagine a Fortune 1000 company, and they pay their CEO, I don't know, call it 10 million a year, 15 million a year. And they say, yeah, he makes all the wrong decisions and it's cost us billions, but I can throw a pizza party. I mean, yeah, I know that our stocks were not looking good at the quarter turn, but everybody felt a lot better after he gave that speech about how cake is yummy. God, I fucking hate this guy. I'm done. I'm going to drink some water. I'm going to have some protein shake.
30 minutes
Stop
of
having
Todd
spasms.
Bowles discourse has officially worn you out.
My voice is half gone.
Fair enough. All right. So I think that wraps us up for the Souths. We have 2 bets from this week, one from each conference. We have Jacksonville over 7.5 wins this year. And then following that, we have New Orleans over 4.5 wins this year.
Should we toss 2 units on each of them?
Sounds good to me.
Cool. Those are both cha-chings. And yeah, we paid you back for not making a bet last week. We may or may not have a bet in future weeks. We have bets when we have bets, you know? We're not going to force it.
Yeah.
Dude, next week you want to break down the fucking Hall of Fame game?
Yeah, definitely. I'm also actually going to drive all the way to the Hall of Fame game.
Are you actually?
No, absolutely not. That would be like 30 hours of driving.
You've done weirder shit to get back to Ohio.
Fair enough, but not to go to the Hall of Fame game.
I don't know. It passed through it on the way to the sweet swamp. I don't want to out you.
It's fine. I'm from, I don't think there are too many Browns fans that aren't from Cleveland area. I feel like that's one you're kind of born into.
Ooh, next week we can do the Norths.
The Norths.
And we can figure out if Alex is a Browns fan again yet.
No.
But until then, there's no football to watch. We do have baseball back, and I'm in on the Cubs for the second half.
Nice.
I watched like half the game today, and I didn't get that bored. But really, I mean, dude, 2 weeks until Hall of Fame game, a month until college football.
It's coming up quick.
I can't wait. And then I'm going to be sad that the summer's gone and I can't play roller hockey anymore. But until then, please consider betting on football games. And also, fuck you, damn shit lips. Asta.